LEB Hobbies is proud to sponsor coverage of the UK Slot Festival. LEB Hobbies has won the Home Racing World Service Excellence Award 7 years in a row. Visit lebhobbies.com. Alrighty, these gentlemen need very little introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is Maurizio and Maurizio from Slot It.
M&M.
Exactly, sure. M&M. So we're going to talk about a number of different things today. The first question that the folks online had come up with was, what do you think the future of slot cars is? It's a very broad question, but how do you approach not necessarily exactly specific products, but what's your overall thinking about where you're taking your companies?
Well, it's a broad question.
It is.
We don't think that we are going to expand the line any more than we're doing now, because we already have current monoposto and, broadly speaking, Formula Ones, historic Formula Ones. Then we have Group C, that with the Jaguar, latest Jaguar, has given more life into a category that, for a series of reasons, did not see any new cars for a while. And then LMP, coming out the new Oreca, will keep making classics, and GT3 is a category where we are going to invest. So did I leave anything out?
So
DTM, and then yes, exactly, DTM. So you see, it's already, we're a small company, and it's a lot of different product lines that we have to keep feeding year after year with models and developments.
You do, but to be fair, you also have a very entry level, you have sets now in Polycar.
Yes.
So that is a very different, I mean, a set is a beginner's product.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, you have the ability to race club racing on the Polycar track, but a set is definitely for a beginner. So that's a very different market from the hobbyist market. So you do have kind of two different areas. You have the hobbyist enthusiast area, but you also do have an entry level effort in your company. How do you plan to flesh that out a little more?
I don't know exactly what to flesh out means.
Do you mean to expand it more?
We are coming out with a couple of cars along the line of the Subaru BRZ Toyota GT86. One is the Impreza that we have already made with the Nürburgring decoration, and possibly another one.
Okay.
We are happy of the results, and the customers are happy because we could leverage on our expertise on racing cars. So those cars, despite being very, properly priced for the beginner, they come with slotted plastic wheels, slotted tires, slotted bushing, slotted shafts. So they run really well, and we could keep the price very reasonable. As far as the sets are concerned, at the moment we are not developing a exact successor of the T001A with the two Subarus, but we will keep making sets in a slightly different way, like the T002Z, adding cars inside a box where you find everything, but it's not targeted to the main toy store like the T001 possibly was. So think about the T002Z, which is the box with everything you need except the cars, but with cars. We are making a 4-lane set along the same lines.
Right.
There is a 4 lanes power base which is out now.
Right.
And so this is what we're doing for sets.
But as far as anything to expand the type of track pieces to fit into kind of like what Skeletric does with any kind of track buildings or any kind of more toy-like ideas like that, you're still definitely going in more of a from a hobbyist or toward the hobbyist area, not trying to expand the product to a more broad appeal, a more mass market appeal, anything like that. It's still mainly going toward the more hobbyist end of things.
Not currently, because we've just come out with Radius 5.
Sure.
And we are developing the X lane changer for oxygen, which is a big investment because it's a piece that has got its own complexity. So currently we're not thinking about making things like, for example, goodwill chicane or crossovers or things like that.
I've had a lot of questions from folks online about the positioning of the brands that you have. You have two distinct companies.
Yes.
You have Slot It and you have Polycar.
We have two distinct brands.
Two distinct brands under Galileo Engineering.
Yes.
How do you look at those brands? What is Polycar? I've heard people describe it as a discount Slot It or a cheap version of Slot It.
Yes, which is not true.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so describe, please, for the folks out there, how you look at the two brands that you have.
Okay. Now? Okay. So, yes, it's true. We have two brands. One is Slot It and the other one is Polycar. I mean, just to explain for those that don't know, they ask, why Polycar? Because Polycar, us being Italian, was the toy that every kid wanted to find, the Polycar track under the tree for Christmas or brought in by Santa Claus, whoever. And Polycar is still a strong brand in Italy. When we have to explain to people, what do you do for a living? We are engineers. They understand what that means. But if we told them, we made slot cars. What are slot cars? Or, you remember Polycar? Yes, okay. That's what we do. It's as simple as that. So Polycar is important to our brand, and we worked hard to get the brand. So Polycar has a double role, which is not easy, because of the roots, we've given it the task to introduce people to slot cars with a moderately priced but as good as possible product, which is the Polycar Home Races series.
Okay.
On the other hand, you see, we have made some classic cars under the brand Polycar, because historically Polycar made the Ferrari before, and that's why there was a Ferrari before. Because Polycar, the P3, P4 of Polycar was something that we all played with. And then there is the track.
Yep.
Same from the Formula One, that are absolutely a product which is high-end. Technically, it's a difficult product to make. It's a beautiful product to hold in the hands. It's got the detail of a good static model. So Polycar has a high-end and the low-end, and the low-end is called Polycar Home Racers to give it a home character for the Slot It is the brand that we have used since the beginning, and it makes the slot car parts that are considered the best slot car parts in the market, and the cars that in an interview I don't like to say whether they are good or not, but I let the listener or the viewer decide whether they're good or not. All I can say is that we're doing our best.
That I think is what people do appreciate, certainly about the brands that you make, is that you do care. People know that you do care, and you race, or you have raced. You're engineers. You know what you're doing, and you give a shit.
There's a concept that has always been at the base of our business. When people buy, say, product, it's the same for us. The money that we spend on a product, it's not been printed out of a photocopy machine, okay? It costs us effort. So we expect to have something good back. Yeah. So expect value from the money that we invest in purchasing a consumer good, be it a slot car, be it a real automobile, or whatever. And our duty, if you want to stay in business, and also because it's right to do so, is to give them back the best way we can. Do we make mistakes? Yes, we make a lot of mistakes. There are things that we could do better. Yes, of course. But still, at the base of our product, there is this concept that I think should apply to every customer relationship.
Right. Okay. Very good. So you've talked a little bit about the monopostos. They
Yes.
are, I don't like the word generic, but they are kind of generic modern Formula
Yes.
One car. There's been a lot of discussion about why no modern Formula One cars are currently reproduced exactly by the slot car market. Why had you not gone with the idea of reproducing exactly the new Ferrari or exactly the new Mercedes? Why not?
Well, to tell you the truth, the old Formula Ones, they all look the same. If you ask anyone which is not a Formula One enthusiast with deep knowledge of each and every winglet that there was on the car, you just paint them a different color and they were all the same, pretty much. You don't expect people to know about push rods, pull rods, and the J-vortex or whatever it's called. Right. They were all the same. So, besides there is licensing. I mean, the market being what it is.
He and I have talked a lot offline about marketing, about licensing.
Yes, I mean, frankly speaking, you speak to a multi-billion dollars company that I must very frankly say does not understand the value of what you're doing. Actually, our model cars, if you think about it, they are advertising media.
Yeah.
As much as the real cars that race on the track.
Yeah.
If you put our car in the hands of a consumer or a young kid, you have his sight focused on your car for quite a significant amount of time. So you are advertising whatever sponsor is on the car for a long period of time, and that is associated with a feel-good, sentiment.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, we should be paid, but sometimes I say majority of the companies that deal with licenses see it differently, to put it in a
right.
way.
Those formative years, you and I have talked extensively about what you all had done with the new Polycar set that you had. You have an adjustable power supply in that set to bring the power down to what I know we both agree is a more reasonable amount of power for a beginner slot car racer.
I talk about my experience when I was a kid.
Absolutely. You can talk about anything you'd like.
Yeah, the Polycar set that I had was a zero set, okay? Was very happy with the zero set with two sort of Formula Ones. They were good for that time. But there was a adjustable power supply, and I remember that I myself was playing and doing lap after lap after lap, and I could trim the power supply and have more power until I could actually become proficient and drive the car like I wanted. Now, if I was given a 15-volt transformer with a big magnet, probably Slot It wouldn't have existed.
Right.
Because I would have probably in desperation, or my dad would, after seeing my car rolling on the carpet for the 100th time, he would have probably taken the thing, put it away, and I would have never played with slot cars anymore. You have to give the customer something that they can have fun with without becoming an expert, and I think that quite simply you give them an adjustable transformer, adjustable power supply, and you set it to the voltage where the kids or the children, I mean, all they do the first time they see a set is go full speed. So you adjust it so the car doesn't go out, and then try teaching them, go up a little bit, show them that the car goes out, and then explain them how it works, and then they graduate over time.
And too much power is not a good thing.
No.
Especially with young racers.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, someone, blonde, I think it was Mae West, said, too much of a good thing is wonderful, but not in this case.
True. First time that Mae West has ever been quoted on a slot car video, I'm sure, but hopefully not the last. Specifically American types of cars?
Yes.
Let's have some. There aren't really American types of cars in your line currently.
The Chaparral? It's just not what you're thinking about.
No, specifically, people want to know about muscle cars. They've asked about doing. I think Chaparral is. I mean, it's definitely an American car, but something from the '60s, later '60s or '70s, is probably what people would want to talk about.
At the moment, we don't have any plans.
Okay.
But there's a Chaparral 2F, which is coming out.
All right.
And it's a great car. You know, Chaparral is my favorite brand. So
it is, indeed.
It is, and so the Chaparral 2F is both American and European, because it won even races in Europe. And,
quite true. Talk a little bit about challenges that you all have faced with the business side of things with China in the last 2 years. Sourcing products, getting stuff shipped out of China. I talk a lot on the channel, just kind of letting people know what, as much as I can, why they're not seeing new slot cars as much as they think they should be seeing them. And I hear from people in the business, friends in the business, that it's been quite challenging the last 2 years, especially. Talk a little bit about what's some of the more recent challenges have been, if you can.
Well, I can. It's just one thing to give you the idea. I came back from China for the last time on January 18th, 2020, and I haven't been there since.
Yeah.
And I used to go there 3-4 times a year, and I did not go there for nothing, of course. So this gives you the idea of the challenge. On the other hand, because we've been working with the same suppliers for many years, and we have built mutual trust, we were able to keep a rather, constant flow of goods despite the rising cost, the difficulties that not going to be there to check the products before the production or check the prototypes, and to nurture the personal relationship, which is very important in these cases. Despite that, we have been able to bring goods in. But of course, when the price of a container goes up tenfold, you understand easily that there is something which goes way beyond our possibility. We do our best, but there are things that we cannot change.
Right. Why there is no show like this in the U.S.? Why do you think there isn't a show like this in the U.S.? You've been to the U.S. a number of times. You've raced. I know we raced in Chicago together. We raced in New York City together a long time ago. There's nothing like this in the U.S. Why do you have any opinions about why that is?
I think it's because it's a huge country. It's a continent. Maybe, I may be wrong, but my idea is that distance makes it probably very difficult. Here you drive to Birmingham from London. Birmingham is also quite central in the UK, so it's easily reachable. But wherever you do that in the US, you do it in LA, you have 4 hours or 5 flight from New York, and vice versa. Otherwise, where do you do it? In Las Vegas or Chicago? Still, wherever you think. I think that there is in the US this logistic issue, and besides, the makers are mostly from Europe.
Right.
Us, Scalextric, Carrera. Carrera is not here, by the way. Scalextric is.
Right.
But
definitely missed.
Yeah.
The expanding digital for the Polycar track.
Yes.
You will be making digital pieces for Polycar soon.
Yes.
Just for Oxygen, or compatible with Scalextric Digital as well, or Carrera Digital, or
not with Carrera Digital. The lane changer is the protocol is compatible. The infrared communication between the car and the and the electronics is compatible with the Hornby SSD. Yes.
When do you expect to have those pieces out?
End of the year, hopefully.
Yeah.
We had hoped to be now in the to have commissioned already the tooling to China, but I have to revise the flipper design. Mm-hmm. It's just a last minute change because we've tested it in a race and the result was not exactly what I wanted. So I'm revising the design. Should not take long.
Okay. Just a personal sort of it's a personal thing with me. Toys, slot cars.
Yes.
Are slot cars toys?
Oh yes, they are. Depends on the age group you're thinking of. I mean, sports car are toys, right? I mean, we're talking like $100,000.
Right.
If you think about it, our society has reached a point where we are well beyond the basic needs.
Hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
Slot cars are at the top.
Yes, of course.
The very pinnacle of.
No, but I mean, are they toys? Yes. They're hobby. We are a playful species.
Yeah.
So some just buy themselves a expensive car that
like one of these.
Like one of these that lucky them, they go race with it.
Yeah.
Or maybe buy a historic car that they can go race with. After all, I mean it's sportsmanship, but it's toys. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise it's basic needs like food, a house, education.
Right. Yeah. Do you race personally? Do you both race personally?
I do.
No, not me. I'm not so. I try, but I'm not so skilled.
Yeah, me either.
So,
but I do it. But I'm not very skilled either. What personally you like the Chaparrals? What kinds of cars in the future? If you had the only say, what kinds of cars would you make? Do you have a dream car that you'd like to make sometime?
Except the Chaparral 2J.
Except the Chaparral 2J.
Easy. That's an easy
The
question.
six-wheel, I know.
Any
Six-wheeler
six-wheelers?
as the March 240.
Yeah.
I've raced with a March 240 prototype, so
Yeah.
I cannot rule out making a March 240.
That's the orange prototype,
That's
the
orange
six-wheeler. Yeah.
prototype, yes.
Okay.
It raced very well. I think that being a real car enthusiast, I was imprinted. I was born in 1962, and so the cars of the 70s, and this probably shows in the Formula One line, are the ones that are more dear to the ones that I used to go to watch when I was a kid. I was in Monza when Jochen Rindt passed away.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so and that year I was supposed to go to the Monte Carlo Grand Prix with my family, but I got measles, so I had to stay at home.
Bad luck.
Yes.
But making, I know you're a fan of Mazda as well. Would it be nice to make a Mazda?
It would be nice to make a Mazda because it's the car that won most races in IMSA, more than Porsche. So it would. We have. I mean, there's. So far, it's just it would be nice if we made that.
Sure.
There are cars like, frankly, the first Nissan Skyline GTR, the Akusuka, but it's legendary, and for JDM cars, would it sell to a wider audience? I don't know. So we need to, keep the feet on the ground, as we say in Italy, and consider reality.
Right. Okay.
GT3s, yes.
Yes, GT3s.
GT3s,
and we're going to be talking about that. I hope it's soon as well. Well, thanks to both of these gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
supporting us, David, and and thank you to all our customers.
Yeah, right.
We depend on you.
See you all again very soon. Cheers.
Bye.